Okay, so today this video is going to be about the post time skip of One Piece. Now, before I even get into the post time skip for One Piece, I want to talk about pre time skip part 2 because it was cut off shortly and I never finished it, but it won't take too long. What I've noticed about One Piece is that while Luffy is, a 17-year-old kid with devil fruit powers, you know, he's just traveling through different, islands. And what what most fans probably know but don't know is that Destiny is on their side because of Luffy and because of how the way he just loves to be free and just loves to enjoy his adventures going wherever. It doesn't matter where it is. So I found that pretty interesting how every single backstory, every single Easter egg, every single thing that's a part of the One Piece manga is still important to this very day. I love how they don't forget about characters that, were in the pre time skip to now. I love that. I love the fact that One Piece makes it seem like it's such a simple story when it really isn't. I love that the most. I just love the fact that, you could say that I'm going on a journey. I'm traveling country through country, and next thing you know, I just keep on evolving and I keep on learning about new history and just, understanding the truth about the world. And that's not really Luffy's particular goal. His goal is to be the king of pirates, obviously. But then when we have Robin that understood what type of path that this young crew was taking, she had no choice but to not resist and just decide to. She wanted to just join that crew because she knew that she would find more truth into what's going on by those 800 years that were missing from, just being with this crew, because this crew doesn't particularly care about the history. They don't care about the past. They just care about their journey. Luffy, Usopp, Chopper, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Frankie, Brooke, they care about, you know, what's going on now and the goals that they can help, Luffy become the Pirate King. And don't get me wrong, Robin and Jinbei are on that too. But I think with Jinbei just has such a deep level respect for Luffy. Like ever since he met him at Impel Down, he knew that this kid was going to be the Pirate King. First of all, no one has ever broke in to Impel Down and made it out alive. He broke in to Impel Down with Boa Hancock's assistance and at least broke out about 200 prisoners, including Crocodile, Buggy, Ivankov, and Jinbei, with Daz Bones and Mr. Three. Like, unfortunately, my boy Bon Clay couldn't get out because that was really my boy, and I couldn't believe that he sacrificed himself in order for Luffy to save his brother. But I think we'll see him again. I don't think that will be the end of him. But what I'm trying to say is, like, when you're seeing this, everybody has in their mind that we're better than somebody. And with the ego, like when the ego truly dies, when you see this person that's doing something that you couldn't do at that moment, You wish you could have done it at that moment, but you couldn't because that character has already done it. That guy, that person, place, or thing, or that woman, she or he has already done it. So now you're just like, damn, like, if I could have done that, I would have got that. And that's where the ego is just like, it's gone. Because now it's making you realize, like, yeah, there's always going to be somebody that's better than you at something else. So that's what I like about Jinbei. Jinbei just has that deep respect and loyalty to Luffy because of how the way he broke him out from Impel Down and how the way he was fighting at Marineford. Because, the Sabaody, Impel Down, Sabaody, the Pirate Empress, the Amazon Lily arc, and that basically Sabaody to Marineford was some of the best of One Piece that we've seen, because we didn't get to see all of these characters fight yet. Like, we still don't know Shanks, we still don't know the Emperors, but we know who Whitebeard is, and we know that Whitebeard and his crew were about to wreck hell. So, adding Luffy to that, it was really just beautiful to watch. And, Whitebeard's death felt like it was ancient history that I was witnessing. Like, it felt like it was real. It felt like someone actually went to the war with the government, fought their asses off for at least 6 hours, had about 250-something wounds on their body, and still stood up straight without a single scratch on his back, and said the One Piece is real for everybody to hear it. Gave a good speech, basically saying, like, Teach, you're not the person that, Roger and that Joy Boy really wants to see. It's not going to be you. He was basically leading it to saying, like, yeah, this is going to be Luffy. Like, it's going to be Luffy, but he didn't say that. He don't know the kid that much for him to just, say it like that. But he does know that Luffy will find the One Piece because of how the way his willpower is just deep in him. His Conqueror's Haki at 17 took out half of the Marines and half of Whitebeard's crew. Whitebeard is like, listen, I'm about to have you rescue Ace, and you're about to show the will of D, which we still don't know, which they still haven't told us. So, I don't know anything about the will of D yet. I just think it's, the enjoyment of freedom to cause wreck. And obviously, they are the rivals of the Celestial Dragons, the ones that made the world government for what it is today, aka known as gods, how they put them out. They're not really gods, but they sure as hell act like it. So I just thought that whole arc right there was amazing. Those 4 arcs that we're going through, that was hot. That was some of One Piece's best work. And I'll tell you right now, the post time skip, because I'm about to talk about the post time skip. But first, let me talk about Ace's death before I talk about, the post time skip. So, if I didn't know One Piece, if I was just reading One Piece for the very first time in my entire life, never even knew about Ace, none of that shit, I would have been crying into tears, because the way we thought he was going to save his brother and he didn't was so tragic. My man went through all of that shit. He got poisoned at Impel Down. He was just getting beat up left and right by admirals, vice admirals, top elite Navy men, just getting beat the hell up. And he still manages to save his brother, even after using a lot of enhancements from Ivankov's Devil Fruit ability, which he told him that could kill you, from years to come. It will shorten your life. He didn't care. All he cared about was, I need to save my brother right now. Like, I love that he's always in the moment. Like, he doesn't care. I'm going to save Ace if that's the last thing I do. So it's just like, dang, bro. Like, when we saw him save him, anime or manga, you're just hearing the happy music like da, 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 da. It's like, damn, like, okay, I'm happy as hell. My man really, he really got him. Like, he real for this. Blah. Akainu is just a mastermind. He knew that would trigger Ace, and Ace's ego got the best of him at the end of the day. Because what does Akainu's words matter about Whitebeard? We all know who Whitebeard is. Whitebeard is a $5 billion man that was rivals with Captain Goldie Roger. So, like, even though Ace didn't know his father, he knew that his other father had respect for his real father. And it was just a mutual agreement for, Whitebeard to really just take care of Roger's son. And how I see it, even though, like, pirates aren't explaining their feelings like that, like, they express it, but they don't explain it. Whitebeard was hurt because he was just like, damn, like, all I wanted to do was just save this young pirate and probably just sacrifice my life for all of my crew, my sons, to just keep living. But he realized that he failed at that moment. And then Whitebeard, he took down Akainu, but he didn't kill him. And Blackbeard came in, and yeah, the rest was history. Like, that was one son that got away from doing some really cruel stuff. And, Blackbeard took on his will, but he took it on a more darker role. Like, Blackbeard's honestly a mastermind. Like, he had this all planned out. And I can't blame him. Maybe I'll have a conversation about Blackbeard specifically later. But I want to get to the post-time skip because I'm already 12 minutes in about the pre-time skip. I just had to get that in because I needed to finish what I wanted to say about that. But post-time skip, the Fishman Island arc to even the current arc right now, I think the Fishman arc was okay. I think the backstory was more like appealing to me more than, what's currently going on. Because at the end of the day, like, we already knew Luffy and his crew were going to beat this fucking Michael Jackson Fishman type nigga away. Like, we already knew he was about to beat him. So it really wasn't a big deal for us to, see it. The only interesting part was when he was, like, when Horty Jones was saying, like, yeah, I'm the one that killed the queen, like, of Fishman Island. Kind of knew that. You hated humans, and you hated the fact that she loved humans and wanted humans and Fishman to be together. But understandably, Horty Jones, I hope I'm saying his name right, he didn't want to associate with humans because of how racist they really were to him and his kind. So, I mean, I get it, but times change, bro. Like, when people get stuck in the past, that's what makes them stronger. His will was so strong that he wanted to eradicate all humans. Now, that would never be possible because he was going to get destroyed. But Luffy ended it perfectly for him. Man, like, you're going on steroids. You're thinking that you could take on, this $500 million, bounty guy that just, came back from, a little short break. You think you're going to just beat him? And if You did somehow. Did you think you were gonna go out to the sea and take over the world? Like, not with the emperors or the admirals or none of that. Like, come on, revolutionary, come on. Anyways, so after that, we get to what is it? Isn't it called Punk? Is it Punk Hazard? Yeah, it is Punk Hazard. We get to Punk Hazard where we see Smoke and Tadashi again, and we see Law, and then I think that arc was pretty cool because it's the beginning of okay, Luffy, since you're back, I need your help right away. I didn't know where you were at, but now you're healthy, you're not dying no more. Let's go defeat Kaido. That was Law. Now, Law, he had a little personal grudge against Doflamingo. So the first thing they had to do was destroy Doflamingo's factory, the Smile Factory. And that was by kidnapping Caesar. It was by kidnapping Caesar. So they kidnapped Caesar, and now Dofi's like, all right, they're messing with my money. I gotta go straight over there to recapture, the guy that's making me money, my Smile Fruits. And this is how we meet Momo, and this is how we meet Kimon too. So it's like I said again, destiny is playing in their hands. They are already, we're already seeing the moment happen. We're already seeing the destiny go on and fulfill while they're just playing into the roles that they're supposed to be playing in. So that's the beautiful part about, watching One Piece from the third man's perspective, just watching it from the outside perspective. It's like I'm really there, but I'm not. I'm just seeing it go down with my two eyes. So after Punk Hazard, we finally get to Dressrosa. Now, Dressrosa was pretty long, and I won't say it was boring because it wasn't boring, but anime-wise, I think they stretched the fuck out of it, especially some of the fights. Like when Luffy went Gear 4 and he was out of breath, and they literally took 10 minutes. Like they took almost 2 episodes for him to recover. That is something that I don't want to watch. At least with the manga, they made it more interesting. With manga, it's every different scene that you see from a panel and from a page. So it's like, okay, this is catching my eye, this is catching my eye, okay, this is different, okay, bet. Anime, you gotta just sit there and watch him go through a stretch of just being tired and him being carried and Doflamingo just killing everybody trying to get Luffy. And also we saw Sabu. We saw Sabu because Dofi had Ace's fruit. And he was he was really trying to set Luffy up so Law couldn't rely on Luffy. But come on, we all knew that wouldn't work. Come on. So, hold on, I got to. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, this is probably one of my best reviews because I'm really I just got fresh off of One Piece. But as I was saying, Ace's fruit was in the tournament thing, and this is how we meet the princess of Dressrosa, and we get to meet her, and we see this legend, and we see the king, and we see all of them, and we see Ace, and we see the revolutionary. They were introduced in the pre-time skip of One Piece because we saw Luffy's dad, which is Dragon, and we also saw Ivankov. But we didn't know that Sabu was alive technically after we received the backstory when the Paramount War was over. So we're thinking like he's dead, and then all of a sudden he's back. So now we're kind of happy because we have another we have another brother for Luffy to be into great new arcs with and stuff like that, because they're gonna meet again, obviously. And Luffy ends up defeating Dofi with the Gear 4. And I think Gear 4 is kind of cool for Ron. I think it's kind of cool. So then we get to the zoo arc, where we're looking at this big ass elephant that's also a part of mythological history that happened about 800 years ago, but we don't have the true, details about how he knows this character called Joy Boy, or if Joy Boy was real or something like that. But the elephant's been alive for about 1,000 years, so that's history right there as we speak, as it just keeps walking towards the sea. So another one. Basically, they say that Sanji was kidnapped, and they learned the truth that Kinemon and Momosuke are trying to save their country because Kaido took it. So again, fate is playing along in their hands. This is this is literally what we call fate. Like Luffy is playing into his destiny. Like he understands who he is, and he understands what he's going to be. So he's going to do the things that are going to lead him into becoming the Pirate King. And this is one of them. Defeating an emperor like Kaido is closer to getting the One Piece, because in order to get to the One Piece, or to get to Laugh Tale Island, you have to defeat the emperors, the ones that are closest into getting the One Piece themselves. They have the poneglyphs, and the only ones that can really read it is Robin. That's why Robin is so important. No one's gonna really kill Robin because she has the poneglyphs. The only ones that will kill her are the government. So now we go to Big Man. We go to Big Mom's Island because Sanji had to go there, because we now discovered his family is a bunch of scientists and scientist experiments that help people in wars, and they get paid for it. And they're part of, the government, and they get to go to the reverie. Well, not anymore, since his dad, Judge, wants to join up with Big Mom. So in order for him to join with Big Mom, he has to have his son, who he didn't care about, Sanji, come into place, because he doesn't want his real family, like his real favorites, to be married to a Big Mom daughter or son or whatever, So understandably, he grabs Sanji and basically tells him, listen, you're going to do this or we're going to kill your chef. So Luffy's like, nah, we're not doing that. Grabs the crew that was with Sanji to recapture Sanji and bring him back to Wano. And, they did. And I don't want to skip over to Big Mom Island too much, because I thought that this was the best arc out of the whole post-time skip. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Wano arc itself too. But to me, I think Wano was long as hell. And I think Wano truly didn't get really, really good until the near end. Until we saw, Luffy get Gear 5, and, we see the introduction of the new admirals. Like, I like the very end. Like, I like the Luffy and I like the Luffy versus Kaido, and I like Big Mom versus Law and Kid. Oh yeah, Kid was captured too. So you got all these pirates that are captured by Kaido, and it's just saying, like, damn, like, Kaido really don't be playing. Like, he be making these pirates his slaves. He be making these pirates stay slaves until their will breaks. But come on, you're not doing that to our main character. Our main character ain't putting up to that. There's just so much that goes on because the worst generation. You got a pool scratch man. You got X Drake. You got Luffy, Zoro, Kid, Law. Who's the other one that he's in my mind right now, and I can Hawkins. So you got all of them that's in this, this arc, and we're seeing a lot of shit for them, man. Like this was a good arc. Don't get me wrong, but my favorite was just Big Moms because you got to see more of Sanji's character. You got to see more of Brook. You got to see more of, the characters that they don't particularly, depend on as much. Like these are the main cast crew, of course, but you don't really see much of Brook and Sanji and Chopper and Nami just by themselves, like because we all have the whole crew that we have to watch itself. But no, I think it was fine. I think everybody showed development, as into it's our fault Sanji had to go because we weren't strong enough. Oh, my man Beige, the gangster. But to say, like, we're seeing all of these worst generation people come in. And, like I said, with Wano, the Gear 5, and, all of that shit was cool. All of it. So I like the post-time skip arcs too. Like, honestly, there's not one arc that I didn't like. I like every single one of the arcs. You can call me a One Piece fanboy, but that just wouldn't make sense because I'm more of a Hunter x Hunter guy. But I love all of the arcs because it's telling you, little bits and pieces about what's going down in the real world now. Like, in the real world of One Piece. So, is there one more? Okay, so Egghead. Basically, Egghead is a country that was formed in the future, but in the past. So, as we're trying to figure that out right now, that's the current timeline. And we're also getting what happened with Reverie while, Luffy and his crew were in Wano and all that stuff was going down. Reverie was just as crazy as the Wano arc. And even though we didn't get to see much, we know that Sabu and the top revolutionary officers invaded Reverie to recapture Kuma, who was captured and decided to become a robot at this point. A full-serving robot, got rid of all of his emotions thanks to the smartest man in the world, Vegapunk. And we see Bonnie there as well. So currently, we're getting Sabu's backstory about what happened at Reverie. And I'm loving it. I'm loving every single one of it. It's been about 2 to 3 months since we saw Luffy's crew. But Luffy's crew right now, they're in the midst of battling the Admiral Kizaru, and they actually might battle Saturn. Because at this point, the government realized that Luffy's a threat after defeating Kaido. They put him out as, an emperor. And they also put my man's Buggy as Admiral too. We'll get to Buggy in the future because I think Buggy's a very important character in this show too. But at this point, they know that if Luffy's crew, if the Straw Hat crew basically takes my man's Vegapunk, it's gonna be a bad thing. So they're not even gonna let it go. Like they're sending all the forces. We saw Lucy and Luffy fight it out again, and we saw the draft and Zoro fight it out too. But they had to come together because one of Vegapunk's clones or something decided that she wanted to be a rebel. So she's the one that's sending, these new like archetype 7 warlord type, king, clan. I don't know. Like it's very interesting how One Piece is winding down right now. We saw Shanks use one move and defeat Kid, and then we saw Blackbeard defeat Law. So lots of stuff is going down in the current arc. Now, since I'm caught up with One Piece, I'm gonna do chapter reviews every time it drops, and I might do it live too. Why not do it live? So overall, One Piece deserves the respect that it gets. If you haven't watched all of One Piece, or if you haven't read all of One Piece, I just don't think it's fair to you to say that it's not a good show, because you're clearly missing out on better arcs to come. Like, obviously, I know people aren't going to like Skypiea, which was actually a great arc, or Thriller Bark. They're not going to like Fishman Island. They're not going to like Dressrosa because it's too long. They don't like One Piece because it's too long, period. But I just think that's not a good excuse. Like, to me, if you can rewatch Naruto, which was over 753 episodes, like when you count Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, even Boruto, if you just watch all of that and rewatch it and keep rewatching it, how can you not watch One Piece? You could literally go through it one time. You don't gotta go through the whole thing like I did, because I like to rewatch it and reread it. When One Piece ends, I'm going to reread it. So I mean, like, when most of the mangas end, I like to reread it because it gives me the full detail about the story. I don't have to just keep assuming, keep waiting. I don't gotta wait. I could just, I could finish the chapter and go on to the next. I like doing that. I do. So I like to get into the details about these characters and these story settings and how it goes down. This is peak fiction right now. One Piece is peak fiction. And with Hunter that's on a hiatus, One Piece is really the thing that we have that, we like to really read. Like, don't get me wrong, I like reading Jujutsu Kaisen too, but Jujutsu Kaisen is not One Piece, and we all know that. So overall, I thought the post-time skip was great. I think it could potentially be better than the pre-time skip with this current arc happening right now, because we're now in the end game. So I think this is a good review. I think 33 minutes is just about enough. And I'm going to end it. And I will see you guys in a couple of days to review One Piece. So I'm out, y'all. Peace out.